What's up, you guys? Welcome back here, Just Simply Sports with me. I am Kaja. If you're new here, I welcome you. Please hit that like and subscribe button for me. If you're not new, you've been here. I appreciate you. You guys, we're going to get right into it, okay? Because my wheels have been turning all day long since I saw that the Grizzlies traded Desmond Bane for KCP, Cole Anthony, and a whole bunch of picks, right? And the Orlando Magic, of course, have gotten Desmond Bane in return. Now, I fully expected the Grizzlies to make a major change after the season that they had, starting with the coach. And then obviously things have been kind of rocky, to say the least. I know a lot of it's because John Morant's been hurt. He got suspended and things like that. So things probably didn't go the way they expected it to. Like earlier in the season, the Grizzlies, they were like dominant, you know what I mean? Like they started off pretty good, and then things kind of tapered down as the season went on, but they started out pretty good, right? So I'm like, okay, a few years ago, this team, Ja was fine in the West, right? He was like, I'm fine in the West, right? And then that whole thing backfired, and we're still asking him now, are you still fine in the West? But nevertheless, see how that rhymes there, you guys? Okay, look. But no, for real. I'm thinking to myself that the Grizzlies may have made a mistake. And if I'm going to trade, if I'm in the front office for the Grizzlies, right? I'm going to make a trade. It's not going to be Desmond Bane, you guys. It's not. And it's not because he's not talented or because I don't feel like I can get enough for him in return, because that they did. For me, if I'm going to start over or blow it up, I'm going to use John Morant. And it may sound crazy to say that, but John Morant is box office. You can get a lot for John Morant, right? And right now, it really feels like the team is kind of in the stage of rebuilding. So if you're going to rebuild, then why don't you just go ahead and rebuild? We saw this team without John Morant in several games due to his suspension and then him being hurt this past season. And they won quite a few games without him. It's not as if this team can't be successful without John Morant in the lineup. Obviously, you would like to have him there, right? But they don't need him there to be successful. We saw Jaren Jackson Jr. really come into his own and kind of lead the team, Desmond Bane right behind him, and so on and so forth. Gigi, Jalen Wells, now they have Zach Edey, who obviously has a lot more maturing to do. But they have some pieces there. There's some things going on with that team. I don't agree with the coaching. You know what I mean? I really thought they should have got a different coach, but that's neither here nor there, right? So I wrote this down, you guys. If I am making a trade and I'm in the front office for the Grizzlies, I'm telling you right now, because I want to add some more depth to my roster. If anything we've learned, I feel like in this NBA Finals, is that the teams do not necessarily have to have these huge superstars lead the team, right? Rising stars maybe, but don't necessarily have to have the kind of stars in your roster that are making like all kinds of millions, right? You don't want to deplete your roster, right? But because I really feel like John Morant is in a very crucial part in his career right now, I really feel like the past two seasons, we've got to really see him kind of deal with a personal change, one from within, not so much on the court, right? But the injuries, the off the court stuff, with the suspensions, I really feel like this season there was something different about him. Like he wasn't as like the Ja that we're used to seeing, right? Still love Ja, but he wasn't the same, like, personality wise. I really feel like he was dealing with some stuff internally. And I really feel like where he's at now, he needs to grow in a different way. Only certain coaches can do that. Only certain coaches, I feel, in the NBA right now, can really push players to be their best and kind of push them out their comfort zone and kind of take them to the next level, because they can understand, one, because they played in the NBA, and because they just really know how to coach. Some coaches are just that good. And the one coach I really love for Ja from a personal standpoint and from a professional standpoint is one Ime Udoka, you guys. I think he is one hell of a coach. No matter where he goes, he takes whatever talent he has on that roster, and they always find a way to start making strides and growing and growing. We saw the Houston Rockets this past season grow from not going to the playoffs to then competing in the playoffs, and they took the Warriors to a 7-game series, okay? Like, say what you want. I love the Warriors, right? But it was a 7-game series. And I'm thinking to myself, John Morant in Houston. I love that idea, you guys. Now, if I'm Houston, right? And I'm bringing in Ja. What am I giving up? Right? I had to write this down, you guys. Okay, so I'm going to trade Reed Shepherd, right? That's their rookie. He didn't really play at all. You might as well trade him. He's young. Let him go out, spread his wings. Cam Whitmore, I'm not sure what happened to him in his second season. The first year he played more, but then the second year didn't really play too tough. This is a tricky one, you guys. Tricky one. Jabari Smith Jr. Now, if I have it my way, I'm gonna keep him with Tari Eason, right? I don't want to get rid of him. But if I absolutely have to, okay, Jabari Smith Jr. I really feel like Tari Eason has just a little bit more of an upside right now. So if I had to choose between the two, then Jabari Smith Jr., Aaron Holiday, he didn't really play too tough like that. Jeff Green, another one didn't really play like that. I really feel like having Jalen Green, right, who obviously is their superstar. Well, not yet, but on the rise, right? We saw him grow so much this second season, but then I really feel like not even his second season, but I really feel like we saw him grow so much this season, and then there were just times I feel like in the playoffs where he was not himself. I'm not sure it's because it's first time there. The lights are bright. You're playing against the Warriors, a lot of pressure, But I really feel like the most consistent one that showed up every single game was Alfred Sengun. Steven Adams showed up surprisingly, in a big way when you gave him a chance to actually play and see what he can do. And then for Van Vliet, obviously, being the vet that he is, he came up big, especially with some crucial threes and things like that. But a lot of the onus was on Alfred Sengun. I was like, this young man, they're going to wear him out. And by like the 6th, 7th game, he was tired. I was like, I could tell he was gassed. He wasn't used to obviously playing that long. That's what you train for the regular season, right? But then the only thing that can really prepare you to play past the regular season into the playoffs is actually experience. You know what I mean? I don't know if there's an actual way to prepare for playing that long when you're not necessarily used to playing that long, right? So you saw he was kind of tired because most of it was coming through him. Like he was the most consistent one, right? Steven Adams is not a bucket getter, right? Like he was good, in terms of what he does, rim protection, rebounds, and they kept sending him to the free throw line, but outside of that, he's like a bucket getter. So I'm like, you have John Morant there. How would it look, John Morant, being as electrifying as he is, with Jalen Green, as electrifying as he is, right? Those two, to me, together are people who are going to fill the stands, right? You're going to come in, you're going to fill, people in the seats. So you want to see John Morant, you want to see a Jalen Green. Could you imagine John Morant doing those like little nice passes to Jalen Green for a cool dunk, or and vice versa? Like, to me, my wheels are just going, you guys. It doesn't even work, right? But to me, it sounds good and it feels good in my spirit, so I'm going to go with the vibes, right? I love that idea because John Morant, right? So this past season, I had to write it down because we'll have to remember, right? So he averaged 23.2 points, and mind you, he was hurt, a lot during the season, so it could have been more. 4.1 rebounds, 7.3 assists, 45.4 field goal shooting percentage. John Morant has the ability to average double-digit assists. I watched him a lot of times this season. I really feel like he took a step back and chose to kind of pass the ball more. I think that's because he's trying to make his teammates better, like kind of take a back seat a little bit. And I'm not mad at him for that because growth is known that sometimes you don't necessarily be the focal point of the team for your team to be successful and to win. You know what I mean? Like we saw Jason Tatum take a back seat when they won a championship last season. You know what I mean? We saw Donovan Mitchell take a back seat this season for the sake of the team being as great as they were, right? And then it kind of fell apart, when they ran into Indiana. But nevertheless, they had a successful regular season, right? They still got there. But I really feel like with everything John Morant has gone through, more so off the court, Ime Udoka is a perfect coach to like really help him mature in other ways. I love that for him. I love it for the team. Like I said, John Morant alongside Jalen Green, Amen Thompson, you guys, this young man to me is making such strides. I think it would be great to see him alongside someone like Ja. And like I said, I think Ja really has a lot more inside of him. It takes a special coach to be able to push it out, right? Now, somebody else I thought about. Nobody is talking about this young man. I keep hearing about Kevin Durant going to Houston. Kevin Durant has no business in Houston for me. Really and truly, I don't feel like that's such a young group. They're really athletic. And I like, obviously, Kevin Durant, is like the greatest scorer, right? Depending on who you ask. But he's one of the ones, right? I'm not going to take that away from him. But these younger teams, like they're moving faster, they're jumping higher, they're super athletic, and it's not really his speed, right? Like he gonna get you a bucket, don't get me wrong, but he's a little bit older. You obviously want him if you can have him, right? Because he's gonna get you a bucket. He's a vet, he's a champion, so he's experienced, right? I like him better personally with one Ant-Man or in the Knicks, or if he wants to also so that he wants to go to the Spurs. I like him, with Wemby. But we'll talk about that another time, right? So back to the Houston Rockets, right? If John Morant is not available, Trae Young. Nobody ever talks about Trae Young. I don't know what it is, if it's like a personality thing or something. He's pissed somebody off. Like, even when it comes to the All-Star stuff, like, he's never really mentioned for some reason to me. I don't understand why. I think he is such a talent, and I really feel like he is wasting his talents away in Atlanta. There were so many games this past season where he had like the craziest amount of assists, like 20 assists, 22 assists. I'm like, wow, that's one thing I had to learn, that anybody can pass the ball, right? But not everybody can create plays. And you watch him create these plays. I'm like, how did he see? Like, certain people like to see certain things, and the way he sees the floor to me has the ability to make everybody around him better. Now in Houston, right? Because the GM said they want to keep their core young, right? So John Moran is young. That's a great place for him. Trae Young is also young, right? Him, for Van Vliet, right? I feel like for Van Vliet, he's older, you know what I mean? I'm not saying get rid of him because you want to keep a vet that's like a champ that's experienced that can, help your team out when it gets to the playoffs, because those things are needed, right? You need somebody who's a vet who's been there to kind of help you, lead you, guide you, right? Trae Young is not an NBA champion, right? It is what it is. But I really feel like his passing ability, his playmaking ability, and the fact that he can pull up and shoot from wherever on the court, it will be such a threat for this team. A lot of the teammates are not necessarily like bucket getters. They're kind of predicated more on somebody else passing them the ball. And the way that Trae Young can see the floor, right? His ability to see the floor, create plays that you might just not even see. It's like, damn, how did he see that, right? I think having him there, right, to pass the ball to someone like Jabari Smith Jr., Tyree Eason, even a Dylan Brooks, right? I love the fact Trae Young, right? Let's talk about his stats this season, right? 24 points, right? 3.1 rebounds, 11.6 assists, right? 41.1, field goal shooting percentage. Because of his playmaking ability and his shooting ability, I think having that triple threat, and I think the difference between him and Ja, because Ja obviously I think is capable of averaging more assists, and being a better playmaker, but Trae Young is already there now. And I feel like the Houston Rockets are really built to contend now, like in spite of them being young and not necessarily having a lot of scorers, a lot of shooters on that team. Whatever Ime Udoka is selling, they have bought in, and it is working because they are constantly making strides. And I really feel like this upcoming season, as long as everybody stays healthy, they will move even further. Now, a lot of this is also predicated on the draft is upcoming, June, I believe, 25th and 26th. We'll get to see like who they're going to bring in, where Dylan Harper's going to go, the Ace Baileys, and so on and so forth, right? Because obviously those are, this draft class, I feel like has a lot of talent, and we don't necessarily really know where anybody's going to go, who's going to take who, except for Cooper Flag, obviously, right? I pledge allegiance. But I really feel like if you can go out, if I'm Houston, I'm going to really try to go and get Trae Young or John Morant if I can do it, you guys. Like I said, Trae Young, there's something special about him. I think he just goes under the radar for whatever reason. It can't be a talent thing. It must be personality. Maybe I'm missing something. If you guys know about Trae Young from a personality standpoint, let me know in the comments, because I don't understand it. But I really feel like he's wasting his time in Atlanta. And I hate when you see players who are so talented, who have the ability to really help a championship contending team or go to one and make it a championship contending team, just waste their talents away, because this is a young man's game, and the minute you get older and your injuries start injuring, that's even a word, it's like they're done with you and then they move on. You know what I mean? Get it while you're hot, get it while you're young. John Morant or Trae Young in Houston, I absolutely love the idea. What do you guys think, though, about what I've said? Let me know in the comments. And of course, I will see you in the next video. Have a great week, you guys.